Let's look at some of the things around us that we take for granted sometimes. In our busy lives, in our work and travel and home, all around us, there are things that clearly show that there is a creator God who cares for all of his creation, including us. He made us, he sustains us, and he cares for us in all our circumstances. It is so easy to forget about the creator God with his creation all around us. God who put us here in the first place. When you go out into a garden and look at all of the flowers that God has made, there staring us in the face is something that shows us that God has made these things for us to enjoy. The great variety of plants that He's made. And this humble spider's web, how does this spider know how to build that complicated web? And how did he know how to attach it? And how did he make that pattern for strength to withstand wind and rain? God did it. God just did it. It's a simple thing like this that as Christians we can see God's handiwork, God's construction. And to us, this shouts creation. That God says, I am your God and I am your creator. A simple snowflake. These pictures are from New Zealand, near Mount Cook, and you can see Mount Cook in the background. Each snowflake has its own individual design. We enjoy looking at it. Skiers and snowboarders enjoy using it for leisure activities. In something that is so majestic as a snow-capped mountain, we can appreciate God's creation down to that very small, sometimes large snowflake, which was made with incredible design. And notice, and this always surprises me, how trees and small green growth amongst the rocks and snow survive sometimes these Arctic blasts in the middle of winter. This footage is from Australia, and you can see in this storm the trees, the undergrowth, just sitting there waiting for spring and summer. And all through these seasons, God is looking after even plants and trees. After all, He created them in the first place. They serve a practical purpose, and they are also there for our enjoyment. I'm fascinated with the variety of birds that we have around us. Jesus said this about the birds in Matthew chapter 6 and verse 26. He said, Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. And then he says, Are you not worth more than they? When we look around at beautiful scenes, both in the day and the night sky, we can say, God made this. He is our creator God. We take for granted sometimes our food crops on farms and forget that God gave us a bee to pollinate the crops and give us food. Without the bee, it's possible that up to 75% of all of our food crops would not exist. He supplies us with the water to drink and to keep us alive, the air we breathe. Let's not take God for granted. Let us always give thanks to our Creator, God. As this psalm says, this is Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of His hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the end of the world. In the heavens He has pitched a tent for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming forth from his pavilion, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. It rises at one end of the heavens, and it makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is hidden from its heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The statutes of the law are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The ordinances of the Lord are sure and altogether righteous. They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey from the comb. By them is your servant warned. In keeping them there is great reward. Who can discern his errors? Forgive my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from wilful sins. May they not rule over me. Then I will be blameless, innocent of great transgression. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my Redeemer. Psalm 104. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendour and majesty. He wraps himself in light as with a garment. He stretches out the heavens like a tent and lays the beams of his upper chambers on their waters. He makes the clouds his chariot and rides on the wings of the wind. He makes the winds his messengers, flames of fire his servants. He set the earth on its foundations. It can never be moved. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. But at your rebuke the waters fled. At the sound of your thunder they took flight. They flowed over the mountains. They went down into the valleys to the place you assigned for them. You set a boundary that they cannot cross. Never again will they cover the earth. He makes springs pour water into the ravines. It flows between the mountains. They give water to all the beasts of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. The birds of the air nest by the waters. They sing among the branches. He waters the mountains from his upper chambers. The earth is satisfied by the fruit of his work. He makes grass grow for the cattle and plants for man to cultivate, bringing forth food from the earth.